Hey dudes, it's your friend, the Reverend Pirate Frog. Come join me in the circle with my OG homie, Cots Growery, the plant magician himself, Mack Gardens, and of course, the better half of Frapple, Johnny Apple. Don't forget to pass to your left and have some fucking fun. Alrighty, hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is something a little different. We're doing a circle with some of our good friends. I have the privilege of introducing, ironically, one of my oldest friends, Cots. How you doing? Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Evening, Rev. I appreciate you guys bringing me on. I'm super excited about this. So my roots go back to Southern California, along with where Rev grew up. In fact, we ran the same circles when we were younger, as funny as that is. But I left Southern California when I was 20, and I went to college in Maryland, and then moved back to California for a couple of years in 2010. Been a lifetime smoker. Started smoking when I was 15, 16. But really got into the plant after college, and took it more seriously around like 2012. And that led me to growing and a whole slew of other things. So
you've been growing since 2012?
I've started growing in 2016, the beginning of 2016. If I could have started growing in 2012, I would, but I was living in a one-bedroom apartment in San Francisco, and this was before 64 passed, So yeah. It was like, it's the same deal. Like, you had to you could do it with paperwork, but I didn't get a medical rec until 2012. So
yeah, they made it easier.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Easier
so easy, dude. My wife got
to
it
obtain
first.
A card?
Yeah.
I got you.
Quite a bit easy.
It became a joke.
It was essentially a joke. It was a joke, but it was also an industry.
Yeah.
It seems like all legality is a fucking joke. New York just did the same thing. Like, New York legalized it, and they said no home growing until you can until like the dispensaries had 18 months of being open or some ridiculous shit. I guess they just recently opened it up for medical people being allowed to home grow.
We'll have to get into that. There's this other guy just sitting in fucking silence. Yeah. One thing I want to say is Cots probably has the most knowledgeable mind that I could personally find. So I'm just stoked that we could get him to sit down with us. But why don't you introduce the very patient Mack, Johnny?
I forgot we didn't do introductions. So, ladies and gentlemen, also joining the circle with us is Mack Attack.
About time, motherfucker. Shit. Sitting here waiting. No, my story is certainly not as interesting as Cott's story, but I started growing a little over 2 years ago during the coronavirus lockdown when I was stuck at home, and I got broke and tired of not having money to buy weed, so I started growing my own. And
hell yeah.
Here we are. Now I'm a connoisseur of sorts.
Not just grow, ladies and gentlemen. You should see these freaking plants. It's an embarrassing day to share it with Mac sometimes when you post your picture and then Mac comes in with this fucking bush. You're like, oh, okay.
Ain't that the truth?
It's so what GMOs are you using?
Dude. They're all beautiful.
We all know he's juicing.
Yeah, that's that Alabrije. That's the Alabrije GMOs.
Yeah, that's right. It's that Mexican
That's so funny.
GMOs.
Yeah.
As my F1s get bigger, they all have that same heavy serrated leaf.
Yeah, dude,
as
it looks
the
super
F2's
cool.
tangies. It's so cool to see that. I was showing my girlfriend the same thing earlier.
They look like little knives, come like shark fins, dude. It's
Oh
a
yeah,
perfect name. It looks cool.
Yeah, hell
they're
yeah.
they're jagged. In case you haven't picked up, all four of us are involved in the Tangy Tibaguana grow along, but not all in the same category, which is awesome. So why don't we go around the table? Let's start with Johnny. What category are you still in, or did you kill them all?
So wait, I only killed one, and technically it's a Tangy Tibaguana grow along. So technically, an F1 is still a part of the grow along, right? So I got F1s in organic. I can still play the game, and then I got my other F2 still in cocoa.
That's right.
What about Cots? You got a couple going on, don't you?
I do, yeah. I have an F2 in a 3-gallon fabric pot. Well, it's a 5-gallon fabric pot with 3 gallons of soil, and that's a soil entry. It's like 2 parts Fox Farms Ocean Forest to 1 part Happy Frog. And then my second entry is a bonsai, and I'm doing that in a little rectangular pot in all
sweet.
Ocean Forest.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So like a week
There's-
apart.
You and Stony both have them going on.
Yeah,
It's
Stoney's
crazy.
is so cool because he's got the aesthetics going right from the jump. So
His
it's-
whole tent looks
really fun
freaking
to look at.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
cool.
It is. It's
I-
such a cool thing to do.
I talked with Stony. His tent is really even more interesting than what you see. It's pretty cool. I want to circle back to your bonsai there. We were just watching I was showing my girlfriend your part 2 video.
Oh,
That geode in there,
is
it
rad.
looks like you had it upside down like a bowl.
Yes.
Was
Yes,
that
so
intentional to start
It
to
was.
stunt the root? I like that.
No. So what I actually did not consider how the geode placement was going to affect the roots when I positioned it. I was thinking more about the aesthetic of the geode when the roots get exposed at the end. So I want the geode to be fully visible, and so in order to do that, I wanted it to be kind of like positioned in an upward way, so that I could essentially comb the roots around the geode, so you can like see both. That was the goal, at least. I have no idea if any of this is going to work because I've never done a can of bonsai before.
I'm
That's
so
cool.
stoked
And you're
someone's
going right
doing it.
in, not only just to canna bonsai, right into the root wash and everything.
Yes,
Nice
yeah.
going for it.
I have been growing bonsai for 7 years now. I've just never
Holy shit.
done a cannabis bonsai.
You just keep getting cooler,
Um,
dude. Leave some coolness for like the rest of us.
Yeah, no doubt.
So introducing Cots and Mack, who now own this podcast.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. See you guys later.
They're gonna have to change the name
Adios,
because
muchachos.
you motherfuckers aren't average. That's for damn sure.
Dude,
know.
I'm blaming mine on Randy Savage.
There you go. And the drugs.
I'm blaming Randy Savage too, dude. He
The
gives
thing
me
is-
power from across the camera.
The one thing I will say though, Mac, is it always blows my mind when I'm looking at strains that either we grow in common or I plan on growing, like looking at your mango myrrh or some of your last runs, where I'm just like, I'll look at all the plants that you see in soil, and then you see yours, and you're like, that doesn't even look like the same plant. What the hell am I doing wrong?
No, it's not wrong, dude. It's I don't know. You're right. I mean, soil versus cocoa, you definitely notice a
Oh,
huge
yeah.
difference. But it's cool to see the different ways that they express. I think I like posting them in there and just I'm not comparing like who's got the biggest plant, you know.
Oh, of course. I was trying to lead into the fact that both Cots and I both grow in organically in soil. Johnny does too, but he's also willing to experiment with. I think we're all willing to experiment, but you're doing cocoa, so I was hoping that you could, if you want, get into how you grow, so that everybody can kind of see the other aspects of it.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty easy. I just grab a bag of Royal Gold Tupper, and it comes in the orange bag, and it's a 70-30 mix. Uh, I got 4-gallon pots that I run in the auto pot tray, and I don't transplant or anything. I just plant right in the final pot, and then in the beginning, like when they're seedlings and stuff, I just water like once every 2 or 3 days, and after about 10 to 12 days, I'll start watering every day, and then they kind of just take off from there. And then around day 20, I just kick the autopot reservoir on. It's on cruise control. I just gotta dial it in, keep the environment dialed in and the light and everything dialed in. But for the most part, it's just set it and forget it. Once you get everything dialed in, it stays dialed in unless you change something. So,
Amen.
So
That's
what is your dialed in? What is your ideal environment?
I'm kind of a VPD chaser, but I don't really like. It
Amen.
might be surprising. I don't really drop below 65% humidity, or like 82 to 85 degrees is where I like to sit.
That's exactly how I
Like the
grow
whole
too.
grow, or just right now in the early?
Even in flower, unless it's like a super dense bud, I'll still stay at 60 to 64% or whatever.
And you don't
I
drop
just-
your temps at all.
Yeah, I mean, what I like to do is drop the light down closer towards the end and turn it down to like 70% to just cool it off a few degrees. So then I'll take it down to like 78 to 80 degrees, but I don't drop like 15 degrees or anything. Even in my dark cycles, I still maintain a temp of at least like 75 degrees. I don't let them drop more than 10 degrees at night. And
I have
So
to
you
grow
maintain a temperature of 75 at night?
yeah, when the lights are off.
I have to grow a similar way. Mine's not quite as high as 75 at night, but because I live in Southern California, like I have to have a humidifier all the time just because my temperatures don't ever get very cool. But they're all stable, so I just have to, like, I have high humidity in flower too, so I have to maintain air movement, But other
Right,
than that,
right.
I haven't had an issue. You can get away with higher as long as your temperatures are right.
Yeah, no doubt. And I got 2 oscillating fans in there, and the exhaust fan's always pulling air, so I'll have one below the canopy and one above, and I'm not worried about bud rot or anything, cause
So you have active intake.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I run active intakes on everything. Everything but my mom.
No. I have passive intake.
So you just got
He's-
one exhaust fan.
Yep.
You're talking
constantly running
circulating
it.
fan.
But it constantly runs. I set my controller to keep it on at a speed of 2, and then when stuff gets out of whack, then it kicks up. But
That's exactly what I do.
I'm in a basement, dude, so I'm constantly dealing with high humidity, so it's really easy for me to control my lung room as far as humidity goes. Like, I only have to run humidifiers when I'm in the seedling stage, and then as soon as I kick those auto pots on, dude, all I have to do is adjust my dehu in my lung room to be able to achieve the humidity level that I want in the tent. So it makes it pretty easy. And
Okay, so you built a lung room in your basement. That's what I was going to ask.
yeah, it's basically my,
What do you
It's
use
like-
to control your heat in the lung room then?
I got some like oil, like radiator style heaters, and then when they're real young and I like to keep it a little bit warmer, I just put a space heater in the tent, and then I'll take it out once they're out of that seedling stage generally, or shut
Okay,
it off.
so what size is your lung room, and what size tents do you have?
I would say that my closet's probably like 7 by 12, and I got a 2 by 4 and a 3 by 3 in there, and then outside the closet is like my game room, and I have one 3 by 3 in there.
Dude, your
That's a nice
setup.
setup
Is very similar to mine then. I think I'm like 10 by 20 maybe.
Yeah, it's a small
But
space,
I'm in
and
the
like I
garage
can
now.
keep the
I'm in the garage.
I can keep the door open to like the game room / the closet, and then it works out pretty well. If I want it to be hotter in the closet, then I just shut the door and the humidity and heat goes up in there. And
So you have a finished basement.
yeah, yep.
Ah,
That
so
sounds
that's
awesome.
the difference. Yeah, that's amazing. You got a whole other living
like- yeah,
space
that
down
sounds
there.
awesome.
That's going to be humid by nature, being underground.
Yeah, it is. This time of year, I'm doing opposite everybody else being in the basement. In the summertime, I'm like providing all kinds of humidity and shit because it's dry outside. And then in the wintertime, when it's dry outside, it's damp as hell down here. So right now with these cooler temps, we're down in the 70s. I've been having to run the dehu like nonstop.
Really?
That's
Because
awesome.
we're contemplating moving Dad's from his upstairs, which is basically his attic, to the basement because I feel like we can control it a hell of a lot better.
I mean,
we're
all you got to
getting-
do, the humidity's naturally there, so really all you have to do is figure out a heat source to get it warmed up because it's naturally colder in the basement too, you know, but
And so I imagine we could just run a fucking duct off of his stack because his furnace is in the basement.
oh yeah.
We could
I
at
got-
least provide that for the room to, get some sort of air in there, but then that might even dehumidify it though, adding furnace air.
It will a little bit, but if you got to run a humidifier, then you got to run a humidifier, you know what I mean? But
Right on.
I have one vent that comes off of my furnace into my room, so in the wintertime when I'm running heat, I don't have to use the space heater or anything because I have that heat vent keeps it like 75 in the lung room, so then it stays right where I want it in the tents. By the time you add lights and fans and everything, putting off heat in there.
That's
Right on.
amazing.
So I think
Hey,
that's what. Hold on.
Well, I was gonna say I want to hear Cots setup too.
I do too, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm in my house is 2 stories as well, and I have a 50-50 finished basement that I just can't grow in right now. I have a dedicated room down there, but every time I put a tent down there, every time I put a dry tent or I try to put a plant in there, I can get the smells that come up through the floor. So it would have to require a little bit more infrastructure than I'm willing to give. So I grow in my office, which is a 10 by 10 room on the top floor, and we're in the South, so we have the luxury of having central air, and it's a necessity down here to have central air. So we run like 70 to 72 in the house at all times, and then I cornered out a portion of my office that includes a 2-foot by 6-foot closet, and in this corner, partitioned off from the rest of the office, I have a 3x3 that's powered by a 300-watt Spider Farmer, and that's currently where the grow along is happening. And then on the other side from that is a 2x2x3 propagation tent that's got an HLG 65 in there, and then sitting right on top of that is my 2x2x5 that basically goes all the way up to the ceiling,
Nice.
and that's my dry tent. And so the dry tent really acts as a secondary lung during late flower. I will pipe in all of my exhaust air through that tent, and that really mitigates the smell.
That's awesome.
But when there's plants drying in there, it's just a dedicated dry tent, and that's where everything goes. I didn't used to have a dedicated dry tent, and then moving into a full perpetual, it's like you kind of have to, or else you're
It
taking
would
too
be
many
chaos. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so bad. So in the closet, there are 2x2 tents. One is 5.5 feet, and the other one is like 4 feet. And those are also used pretty much primarily for flower. And right now, they're being used for just recycling my mom's until I start running pheno hunts. And those are both powered by HLG 100-watt V2s. Yeah,
Sick.
so that's my
You-
setup.
You have such a space efficient setup. I love it.
This is like, in this house, this is probably the 10th iteration of this. I've done everything. And when COVID hit, I really went balls to the wall and just kind of did whatever the fuck I wanted for
That's
almost
exactly
2
what
years.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't care, dude. I was so brazen about where I was growing during COVID that I had the 3x3 in our bedroom with males, with 4 males, and I ran them full cycle to collect
Jeez.
pollen.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
Funny.
those times are gone. So.
Yeah. Well, at that point, no
They're
one
fun
knew
while
what
they
was
lasted.
going on. Yeah.
Right.
Always good.
Yeah, I'd shed like 30 pounds during that, thinking the world was going to end, like exercising every day, trying to be healthy, because I was sure that was going to be the only way I was going to survive that whole fucking mess.
Dude, I lost 90 pounds during that 2-year stretch.
Holy fuck.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought I was going to die too at first.
Yeah.
Was it because you weren't eating?
No, I just
lost-
started eating healthier.
Yeah, it's crazy how quickly that does. My heterosexual life partner and I, we cut out sugar. Like we trying. I mean, you can't ever cut out sugar, but we're trying our best, like actively avoid it and picking better things. And I kid you not, I keep losing weight, and I'm like, oh shit, I lost another 2 pounds. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, sugar's like I quit eating. I did the zero sugar thing for a really long time, but now I'll indulge a little bit.
Oh, of course.
As I look at this Rice Krispie treat in front of me. But
For me, it's Skittles, obviously.
yeah,
Well, yeah.
the
lime flavor.
ones.
Nah. See, this is... I'm out. I'm going to roll one.
Except I like both, so
Yeah.
I'm not biased towards one or the other.
That's a
I
good
saw you
philosophy to
eyeballing
have.
my fucking green apple chapstick earlier.
Oh yeah, I would eat that.
Cherry did. Cherry was like the best tasting one.
Dude, my mom used to be like, "What is wrong with you?" Because I'd just be in the back mowing down on a chapstick. I'm like, "Oh no, it tastes good."
It tastes good.
You wouldn't.
I
buy
get
me
the feeling it
candy.
used to be lead paint, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that explains
We-
it.
Yeah, it's okay. We're happy. It's golden, dude.
Yeah.
At least it
Who's
sounds
gonna
good.
do it?
Anyways,
Yeah,
Dude,
as
it's
long as it
content.
sounds better. Exactly. Short and sweet is a good thing, man. There's sometimes where you only need like 20 minutes of content, but these episodes, I figure, if you have the time, you can sit down and listen to us bullshit.
Yeah, I mean that's all it is.
Yep.
Just hanging out. It ain't no different than sitting in the Discord chat talking to each other.
Exactly.
so
I mean, it's a little bit different, but
we had just recorded an episode about the autoflowers. We haven't released it
Oh,
yet.
that's
We
a
were
good
talking-
fucking question.
Yeah. And Jesus, where was I going? Goddamn weed. No,
Just-
so I was playing it for my girlfriend because I'm self-conscious and I want her opinion and shit and whatever else. And she liked that conversation so much, Padre. She wants to grow her own autoflower.
I think that's
Oh,
that's
shit.
awesome.
Congratulations.
So she's gonna. You said something along the lines of just do a little bit of research. So that's what she's doing. She's asking me questions. She's fucking looking
I
up
think-
stuff on the internet, and she's gonna grow an Alabrije. She chose that on her own. She's gonna grow one
That's
of the
amazing.
mystery. Yeah.
I think
Now, are
Alabrije's. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, are you like opening up your collection and just saying like, here, pick what you want, or
So
are you guiding her to a certain?
yeah, because my
autoflower
collection has
variety?
a whole bunch of like bullshit, like nuke heads in it, and I think there's probably even some ILGMs mixed in there. So I wasn't. I told her, "What do you know? Like, is one of the most important things?" And she kind of was like, "Yeah, well, I know that you talk about genetics being super important." It was like, "Yeah, so I want to steer you in the right direction. I would like you to choose your own strain, your own whatever. Start reading." And we went to Multiverse. and started browsing through the autoflower breeders, and she picked out Mephisto first, and I said, I think I might have some of these Mephisto strains already here, if you want to read through them. And she said, well, what do you have here? And I said, well, I got these. She goes, what is that? She goes, what's that one? That's got Alabrije on it. I go, that's a mystery pack that came. And she goes, oh, I want to do that. That sounds really cool. Because this whole thing is a mystery to me, like whether I can grow or not. It's mysterious, so I want to grow that one. I was like, okay, cool.
That's
Yeah, that's a
great
good
thinking.
choice, I think.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It doesn't matter even if you know what you're doing your first time, because you have nothing to compare it to. You could tell me that it's this plant, and I'll be like, I believe you.
Right on.
She could compare it to Johnny's, but she still wouldn't feel bad, I don't think. So
She'd be happy. Like, look how much better I am.
It's at least bigger
why am
than,
I here? Not if she isn't as patient as fucking you are, dude.
She's way more patient. Dude, she's got to be patient. She deals with me.
That's true.
yeah, very good point.
I can't argue that. Well, that's exciting. Do you know what method she's gonna do?
We do. She's going to do an earth box.
It's the easiest thing. It is so easy.
And so that was what the argument was. She was saying, if it's really that easy, let's make it as easy as possible. Let's see if I can do it. So I'm going to help her get the environment set up and help her with the fans and shit like that. Because we were talking about it being like grandma throwing in an earth box outside. Kind of easy. You know, with a little bit of gardening knowledge and a little bit of research. So I'm helping her with an indoor grow because it's a little trickier than what grandma might do. You know what I mean? So, but we're going to do the earth box to run it easier that way. And
I've always wanted to do an experiment of how little you can do to, just through the whole run of an autoflower. But every time I think about doing it, I'm like, why do I want to waste my own time?
Okay, so that's a perfect segue to what my next question was going to be for everyone here. What's everyone's thoughts on doing a Mr. Canucks cocoa organic row in an earth box?
Do it.
It sounds like fun.
I would do it. Why would it be any different than regular cocoa or soil? It's just a mended
The only thing
cocoa.
I was like thinking wicking.
It's gonna wick better. It's arguably
anything, it
gonna
would be
wick
a lot
faster. Yeah.
That's
It'll be faster.
kind of where I'm at. And dude, with the difference between the way the cocoa tangy tibaguana and the one I'd started in the 3.0, the difference there, it was like And then I was like, man, Earthbox and cocoa, and we started watching in her training, Jesus Christ, like I'm fucking training Karate Kid here. In her research, we were watching like a Mr. Canucks video or whatever on autoflowers, and I was like, dude, his cocoa organic mix would be fucking perfect in an earth box.
I mean, that's basically what
absolutely.
Mad Hatter's doing, because he runs auto pots, so the only difference is it's hooked up to a reservoir. It sips the same as a earth box does.
Right on.
So,
Fuck yeah. Dude, that just...
I would talk to Mad Hatter. He has some pretty cool stuff that he does that I like the way that he does it.
Yeah. He's got
like,
videos
as
too.
far as soil mixture?
No, his cocoa organic run in autopots is really cool.
Right on. I definitely got to get in touch with him and do some more research, because I think that's going to be the way to go. I think it'll absolutely crush.
Yeah, if only there was an easy way to reach out to him.
Discord.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask Mac and Cots. We both talked, and I said that I would recommend growing anything personally. Like, it doesn't matter, but I think autopots are awesome, or not autopots, autoflowers are great for the first-time grower because it's quick and you can get a lot of variety. What is your guys' opinion on it? We'll start with Mac. Sorry, I just threw it to a free-for-all. Let's go,
No,
Mac.
it's all good. I was just trying to be courteous.
That'll
I
be
mean,
quick lasted, I'm sure.
Really, I would say go either way, but the main thing is the hardest part about doing a photo period for your first run would be trying to keep the environment in check for 12 hours because as a new grower, you don't really understand usually how important the environment is unless you've really done your research and like nailed it down in your head before you start doing it. And you can kind of expect what's going to happen. So it's hard to predict when you've never done something.
I think
But
that's such a good point.
I mean, I would say auto flowers, but not because they're easier to grow. Because I feel like photo periods can be easier to grow because when you mess them up, you have time to correct your mistakes. So
Thank you.
they both have pros and cons. But I would say if somebody came to me and said I want to grow my own, and I gave them a pack of beans, it would probably be auto flowers. Just so they could like run a 24-hour light cycle and try to stabilize that environment for their first run, and then they can start giving a dark cycle and they'll understand how to maintain that environment, and you can kind of work yourself into it.
Exactly.
Honestly, and I never thought of it
prematurely.
No, he had a point. Autos are more difficult in unperfect conditions.
Yeah,
Well,
they
That
are.
was the only point I was trying to make. Like, it can be more difficult.
But you're
All right,
probably
Cots, time out. It's the average show, guys. There's 4 of us. Let's hear Cots.
I'm going to agree with Mac on absolutely every point.
All right, let's not
made
hear
there.
Cots. I'm just kidding.
No, but here's what I will say. When it comes to people who are growing for the very first time, what I would say is like grow what you've got, honestly. And if you've got nothing, and I'm gonna give you some of my seeds, I'm probably gonna give you an autoflower. I'll probably give you an autoflower for no other reason than we all tend to overthink our first grows, and if I can land somebody into an SOP that's easy enough that you can just run a 24-hour cycle and give water, I think that's going to be the best way to do it. Other than that, I'm not opposed to more work either. So if and I'm not saying that photos are necessarily more work, but they certainly can be. And,
for sure.
There's a lot more that you can do. There's a lot more versatility with a photo.
Do you run a 24-hour cycle on your autos?
I don't know. I personally run 20 on, 4 off.
That's what I do too.
Autos.
Now, you must
I
run
run a
dimmers because that's
16.8 in Prop 10.
Oh, I'm
gonna
sorry, I
finish
had
your
a
thought
brain
there?
fart. Yeah, no, I was. I didn't want to interrupt anybody.
You weren't interrupting anyone.
you
It
must
was
be dimming.
yourself.
Like, great. I did it again. No, you did it to me this time, fucker.
How did
So,
you interrupted yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Your brain.
No, you're doing it now. You're doing it right now.
Why are you yelling? You don't need to yell into a microphone.
Stop talking when I'm talking.
Jesus. No, so if you guys run your lights 20 hours, my curiosity is you must run dimmers then. You're not top of the tent 100%.
No,
No,
on top of the
actually
tent, more like
not
70.
at all.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm with Mac. My 300 watt right now is 78 max.
Yeah, I'm like 75% in the 3x3 and the 2x4 because I have like a perfect fitting light in both of them, so it's like corner to corner, keeps it perfect for 20 hours.
So percent's a little hard to understand. You guys, do you happen to measure, at least with like a Photon app or anything, what kind of DLI or PAR are you running for those 20 hours?
I personally don't measure DLI or PAR. It's an intuitive process, really. If the plants show you that they're getting too much light, they're going to show you that they're getting too much light. And vice versa, if they're not getting enough light, they'll show you as well.
Now, so
that,
what is that?
What I'm
what
using
is
the
that
light
signal?
dimmer for is to maintain VPD, because those are parameters that I will keep. And so if I see that it's too hot, I will the first thing I'll do is adjust the light. It doesn't ever really get too hot, but because my lung room, which is my office, stays at an even 70 almost all year round, and it fluctuates like give or take 5 degrees. But and also with autoflowers, in particular with this run, I will adjust the light as they grow. So I'll start with it much more dimmed, and then right now, the tallest plant being the tangy tibaguana at, I'd say, almost 20 inches above the surface of the soil.
Wow, 20
I'm running
inches
75% of mine. It's massive. It's grown 6 inches in the last 2 days.
Yeah, mine's quick too, but I think mine's I checked it last night and it was 12 inches, but I haven't checked it today yet, or measured today. But I mean, it outpaced my Queen's Banner. I mean, this thing is just like a beanstalk, dude. I'm sure Max is like 75 feet tall.
I got the tape measure out earlier, but the light wasn't on yet, so I didn't measure it.
Yeah, but I can measure it. It's like
She tall.
I got the measure.
Oh, I bet. I like that.
That's what I was worried about. That's why I topped mine.
I'm letting it go all natural, baby.
Max 100%.
I also
right there.
Mango Mirror's keeping up with her, so I haven't felt the need to even tie her down at all.
Oh, I did a heavy de-leafing earlier.
On what?
On my tangy and cocoa.
Already?
Already.
Good God, dude. Do you can't you sit on your hands?
No.
You
It'll
do
be
No,
so
alright.
her
much.
fucking fan leaves were so big that the lower branches weren't seeing shit. And I was like, well, I could do some LST or I can do some big fan leaves. So I just pulled off the big fan leaves and was like, oh yeah, then now they got light. So let's see how she dislikes that.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to clip
Yeah,
the
she's
first
20
node.
inches.
20 inches, dude. That's
Yeah, I just measured
amazing.
her.
Crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, wild.
How
I'm
tall
worried,
is your
to be
Marley? How
honest.
tall is your Marley's?
Oh, like 15.
Mine's
So
a
low.
monster.
15.
Mine's a monster 6.
Yeah, but it's getting bigger, dude.
It is.
That's
it's
what
just
she
so
said.
slow.
They just haven't exploded yet, bro.
The rest of
It's
my
gonna
plants are
happen.
so pretty, and the one I was so excited for, I'm just like, come on, man.
I think it still looks good.
It does look good. At least it's
think-
healthy. You know what's crazy? As I told Johnny already, but it outdrank my Queen's Banner. That Marley drank its 2-gallon reservoir before Queen's Banner by 2 days, dude.
Damn.
Thirsty girl.
I
What
know,
type
I
of
was like,
flowering
dude,
signals are you seeing on her, Padre? Because I'm curious, because my F1s look like they're a week into flower already.
got
the
pom-poms?
Marley's, yeah, the Marley's Grin went into. I saw pistils the latest by 2 days, but she still got the most. She got like 3 or 4 sites of pistils. I haven't really looked super close at her today. I probably should, being that I'm growing her, but I'll get to it at some point today.
Well, you take pictures every goddamn day. You don't inspect them like that?
That's
I
easy.
do. That is super easy. That's the problem, is that I started for a little while. I was like, this is part of, my IPM is daily checking. And then I realized I was taking a single picture when I was still half asleep in the morning so I could get my ass to work. And then I was like, oh, that didn't accomplish anything.
I do the same things. I try to avoid opening my tent more than what I have to. So I try to only go in there like once a day and actually have the
Exactly.
door like wide open, breaking my environment. And
I think it's the smartest, and it keeps you from Johnnying things and just messing with it for the sake of messing with it.
Oh, no. When I de-leaf this thing, I literally walked in the door from getting home. I was like, oh, the lights are on. Let me go check it. And I was like, oh, yeah, look at all those leaves blocking all those bud sites. Rip, rip, rip. Bitch, you're naked.
Do you know what the definition of
I
no
can
is?
see that. I can see that literally.
Oh,
There's-
yeah. Your personality. You were probably in a conversation with me about something, saw it, put everything down, ran to it, and then came back to the conversation an hour later like, what?
Meanwhile, the plant's screaming back like, "Why the fuck is this naked bald guy laughing at me or yelling at me?"
I've seen what she does to my sisters.
You saw that video, did you?
I've never we've had that conversation before. You called her for like weeks, almost. It felt like a week, and then in the matter of a second you decided to kill it. You were like, no, you're right, I'm gonna listen to Captain. And then the next day you're like, it's dead, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I just went to sleep and woke up and it's different. What the hell, dude?
Yeah, I thought it was like
terrible
midnight. No,
everyone.
it was like 2:00 in the morning. We got out of the hot tub and I ran into just give him one more look, and I was like, you know what happened was that fucking G-Fog 2 made my curiosity and my fucking ADD just pounce. So I just jumped in there and looked, and I was like, nah, fuck this, man. There's something going on. It had like this really, really bright yellow in the middle. It hadn't grown anything in like 3 days. I'm like, yeah, fuck you. You're out. Tag team.
Any decision made at
You're
2 a.m.
fired.
is never a good decision.
Yeah, but you know how many 2 a.m. decisions I have? I work nights
Oh, that's true. You and Mac actually make normal decisions.
at 2 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah, at 2 a.m.
That's not saying this was a normal decision.
No, of course not. It was a silly decision, but you've made it. Let's move on. I have, since we're somewhat into the spooky season, and this will air around Halloween, I figured I'd ask one Halloween question. We'll start with Cots, and then Cots, you can pick who to ask. But favorite
Sure.
Halloween candy and your favorite Halloween costume of all time.
Favorite Halloween candy are those miniature SpongeBob gummy burgers that you can pull apart and eat the layers. Hands down. I steal them from all of my kids' pails on Halloween night.
There you go.
They're mine. I don't know if you guys know what those are or if you've ever had them, but they're fantastic.
Oh, yeah. They're gummy.
Yeah, they're gummies. And
Oh,
they look like
yeah.
burgers or Krabby
Yeah,
Patties.
I know
rather.
exactly what you're talking
And,
about.
yeah, I love them. I love them.
They got a mushroom
And,
texture I just can't get through.
I'm not a fan of the lettuce flavor.
Favorite
yeah.
Halloween costume ever?
The lettuce tastes like pickles.
I hate pickles. It's terrible.
I don't even really know how to answer this.
It's a weird
I like
fucking
anything.
question, but
I like
Padre's
anything
full
that's.
of 'em.
I'll say this: I like anything that's group themed. So,
Okay.
Like this year, my whole family is going to be different bugs,
Oh, that's dope.
and yeah. So I'm pretty sure I'm a ladybug. I have a thing for ladybugs. I don't know if
That's
you
awesome.
guys know that.
Yeah, I was gonna say
They're
I
my
couldn't
homies.
tell.
Yeah,
I
they're my
couldn't tell if-
homies, you know.
I couldn't tell if you were growing plants or breeding ladybugs for a
Breeding
little while.
ladybugs. Yeah, I don't
I know it
man.
was like in every picture there
tell.
was a ladybug. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not. It's all fun and games until you run out of bugs to eat, and then the ladybugs don't have the best time in there. So
Oh yeah.
it's
Yeah, they
off
die
to
right
Valhalla
off.
for all of them eventually, you know.
They've earned it.
But yeah, while they're there, we're bros for sure.
Exactly.
But
Well,
yeah,
that's an interesting one.
yeah. Mac, what about your favorite candy and Halloween costume?
Dude, Halloween, as far as Halloween candy goes, I like those peanut butter kisses. They are like a peanut butter taffy and they have like a chunk of peanut butter in the middle. They're super chewy. Those are good.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, those things are great.
Yep.
I
And
can't
then-
do them now because of my teeth.
Yeah,
fucking
I have
things
to
are
like
just-
hold it in my mouth for a while until it's warm and like soft.
Yeah.
Hold on.
That's not the only
Sorry.
thing you hold.
You can't do that as he's walking
You
away.
got saved by the knock at the door,
Oh,
man.
dude.
I was gonna say that's Matt got saved. That was perfect. Those gummy things they're pretty dope though.
They're good.
Haven't had one
Honestly,
in forever.
like when you send the kids out to trick or treat, it's to me it's really just like fetching me candy.
You're like, I will be eating this later.
Yeah, because I comb through it, obviously.
Oh, of
before,
course, you have to.
We settle in. I'm
Yeah.
checking because, you never know, right? But,
Oh, of course.
So I, they don't get the SpongeBob Krabby Patties, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, those ones are. I heard those ones are poisoned most often.
Yeah, we call that a dad tax.
There you go. I've grown up with that tax.
Yeah, they put weed in all those.
Yeah, you got to test them. So we'll go back to Mac, who got saved by the knock. Johnny was getting ready.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife had an emergency that she needed to tell me
Excellent.
about. So, but yeah, I don't know what were we talking about? The candy, right?
Yeah.
Johnny wanted to give me a peanut
nah,
butter kiss.
Candy costumes.
nah. You were talking about having warm and fucking soothing in your mouth, and I thought, Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
that's not
yeah.
the only warm, soothing thing you want in your mouth.
Well, come
Yeah,
on over.
but- So, okay, I guess it doesn't have to be the best Halloween costume, but if you can't
Bob
think
Ross.
of best, there you go. Bob Ross is a great one. That's fucking
I was
awesome.
Bob Ross,
Absolutely.
and I felt like I was the absolute king of the world.
How many people wanted a hug?
A lot of people wanted to touch my afro.
Oh, I bet.
It was pretty cool.
What about you, Padre?
Well, my I don't eat sweets anymore. Haven't for a while. But my favorite of all time is either those Smarties. I don't know why the chalk flavored candy was super good, or anything Reese's. I'm a sucker for peanut butter.
Oh yeah.
And my favorite costume I've ever been I was Charlie Chaplin when I was like 13. I thought that was cool. It was not cool to be a 13-year-old Charlie Chaplin.
Not nearly as cool as you thought it was.
Not at all.
Probably,
Did you at least
probably
like
zero
skateboard or
people
something?
knew who the fuck Charlie Chaplin was.
Oh yeah. Well, and then by the end of the night, the only thing that was recognizable was the mustache. So that's something you should think ahead of.
Outstanding.
But of course, yeah, no, we were skateboarding around and stuff and having a blast. But everyone was just like, "Why the fuck are you Charlie Chaplin?" And I was like, "I really like the movies." Fucking weirdo. What about you, Johnny?
Oh yeah, Skittles obviously is number one on the list, and how can you go with anything other than Superman? For Christ's sakes, Superman is the greatest of all time.
But how do you do Superman if you're bald?
I don't do Superman. I'm not getting in no fucking costumes.
How do you do Charlie Chapman with your red hair?
Okay, I mean that's a fair point.
He could
That's
be
true.
bald if he wants to.
Yeah, I can
Okay,
put
that's-
on a sexy fucking wig.
That's true. I apologize for being baldest.
I mean, look how cool Superman is. I mean, Superman is so cool. His disguise is being a news reporter. His disguise is being a human being. Like, that's how cool he is. He is actually that cool.
I don't know.
Not
I'd
like
rather be
fucking, not like Batman or some shit who's like a human being who has to have all these mechanics and shit to make him cool.
He's a billionaire. That's pretty cool.
Is it? Because there's a couple billionaires I don't think are pretty fucking cool.
That
His car's
doesn't mean
pretty
that
cool,
you.
too.
I gotta say, I hate almost every billionaire that's in the news constantly, but that doesn't mean that I wouldn't be down with $1 billion.
Yeah, you would be cool with a fucking Billy.
Hell yeah.
Imagine
I
how
wouldn't-
good you would sound with a Billy. All of us could just go to sleep with your soothing voice.
I wouldn't care if you liked me if I had $1 billion.
Exactly. I'd be $1 billion. I'd be buying the most ridiculous things. I'd be buying like city blocks of people I don't like just so I could be an a-hole. Like, get out of here. Build myself a fortress to be left alone.
Oh, you don't like
So
me?
you-
I'm gonna
you,
name
uh,
this street after me.
Exactly.
You mentioned you wanted to hear about a couple of books Cots had mentioned.
Yes, I think it's fundamental that if you want to know, if you're into growing, I think at least you should have one of them memorized. But the other one is if you want to know anything about the history of cannabis in this country, law-wise, you can't go wrong with the other.
Yep, I agree. So the conversation came up in the Cultivation Conversation Discord, and it was just basically on cannabis education and misinformation in books. So I'm a huge book nerd, and I've been sleuthing cannabis books for a decade now. And just like off the top of my head, if I'm going to recommend 2 books to anybody to read on cannabis, not necessarily beginner books, one more than the other, but just 2 books in general. The first book that I would recommend is The Emperor Wears No Clothes by Jack Herrera, edited by Todd McCormick, which I believe is perhaps the most important book on cannabis that's currently in circulation for a number of reasons. But the main reason is because it is a very concise explanation of why we have the laws that we have in the U.S. Around cannabis. And it's presented in a way that's really easily digestible by pretty much anybody. The second book that I recommend, and this one is much more dense, and it's basically academic text, is
I think of it as
Evolution and Ethnobotany.
Yeah,
You have to say that again.
Yeah, sorry. I was just going to wrap it, and I use it as a very good reference. It's like the reference book to end reference books.
Evolution and Ethnobotany? Or,
Yeah.
Both of them. Yeah. But yeah, so Cannabis Evolution and Ethnobotany by Robert Clark. And Merlin, I can't remember the guy's first name. You're going to have to forgive me. I'll grab the book. Mark Merlin. I always forget his name. But yeah, Robert Clark and Mark Merlin. And it's basically a reference text on the history of cannabis and how it disseminated from its what we think is its natural place of origin, which is somewhere in China, in the I guess you could say the Himalayan range, I guess, kind of on the edge of China. That's where Robert Clark and Mark Merlin posited that cannabis came from, and it's basically their explanation, and the best explanation that I've been able to find to date on how cannabis made its way across the planet and co-evolved with humans. So if you're interested in any of that, I would highly recommend grabbing those 2 books. Evolution and Ethnobotany up until last year was only available in hardback, which was incredibly expensive. I think you can only find it for about $150. But fortunately for everyone, it's now available on paperback. You can get it for about $50 on Amazon. Or if you're like me and sometimes can't afford books, you can always look on the internet and find the PDF. I don't recommend doing it if you can buy it, but the most important part is reading it and getting the information in your head.
All it takes is a good Google search.
Exactly. Yeah. Highly recommend both of these books.
They're great.
Agreed.
Awesome.
I'm definitely gonna have my girlfriend look into the one if it's a simpler read for her, for sure.
Well, it's such a good knowledge of. I look at it a lot like there's a lot of people. Wow, there's a lot of people in that book that you walk away from just hating.
I mean, I kind of want to read it too. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt, I'm reading them.
Oh yeah.
Evolution and Ethnobotany is. I wouldn't recommend anyone sit down and barrel through that one because it's incredibly dense. It's like reading a college textbook. But The Emperor Wears No Clothes is incredibly easy to read, very easy to understand, and will change your mind and life forever fundamentally if you get through the entirety of the book. Insofar as your opinion on cannabis policy in the U.S., like if you're able to get through that book, you'll be more informed than 99% of anybody else in this country who hasn't read that book.
For sure. It's so
we need to get that
Yeah.
book into
Give it a
more
read.
people's hands.
Yep,
It's
like I said,
incredible.
a very good Google search.
Yes. Yeah.
So I
Well,
guess
read the
I'll
book.
ask. Yeah, read the book. I'll ask one more Halloween question. Does anyone have any Halloween plans? So for me and my lady are doing a couple's costume where she's gonna be Hulk Hogan, and I was originally gonna be Macho Man Randy Savage, but all the costumes were super expensive, and I was like, I ain't spending this kind of money for one night, so I'm gonna be a referee instead.
Hey, that's cool too.
Much cheaper too. What
No,
about
I'm not
you,
doing
Mac?
Shit.
Oh, we had to miss our costume parties this year, so I don't think we're doing anything cool like that. We're just gonna let the kids dress up and take them.
Nice. Do you have a good neighborhood to trick or treat in?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. We usually drive around a little bit, but we spend most of our time right around our house.
Nice. Super important.
Yeah, I can kind of trust the people around me.
Yeah. I'd hope so. What about you, Cots?
Yeah, it's the same.
Cots
deal.
is a ladybug.
Well, no, I know what I know
we're
what
gonna
he's
all dress
dressing
up.
as. I wanted to know what he's doing.
It's gonna be it's a big family day, so the kids are gonna go trick or treating, and I am going to keep my head down because I'm antisocial and I don't like being around people.
Yeah.
So
But you
it's not,
do it for your
the
daughters.
most fun for me. For sure, yeah, that's how it is. I, up until COVID ended, had the luxury of being able to hold down the fort while everyone went out.
Nice.
But now I'm kind of involved again, so I
You're
gotta
thawing
go out.
out.
I
Yeah.
gotta do the thing.
You're like a caveman thawing out. Like, get out of your comfort zone, dude.
Right, yeah. And then I get to come home and harvest my 2x2s
Ooh.
because I'm saving them for Halloween to harvest.
That's awesome.
Nice.
And yeah, I've got so I am out of flour. I know I had mentioned it before we went live, but I have no flour in my possession now. I smoked through all my shit, guys.
Oh no.
Um,
I'm very close. I have
Yeah.
2 mason jars left, and then I'm done. And I'm like,
Ugh.
no.
yeah,
I've got.
I'm so, dude. Down here, if you're out of flour, like
Oh yeah.
you're out of flour. you
Yeah.
there's nothing. I could go to the local store and grab some Delta 8, but
Ugh.
I don't know. So, but I do have lots of trim in the freezer because I always keep a bag of trim around.
Mm-hmm.
And so I made some. I guess you could call it hash, but it's really just keef. I ran it through the trim bin and collected it and got myself a nice little pile. So until I harvest, I am going to be using that keef in the volcano and just sprinkling it over spent flour. So
There you
in case
go.
You guys want to know
If
what
it-
to do when you're desperate?
gonna
That's what
say-
we do.
You're
But
gonna
the
get
important-
really
Wow.
high, so
Yeah. Does it work?
Oh, it works. The keef came right out of the trim came right out of the deep freezer. So it was in the deep freezer for, I guess, a couple of months, after my last trim, undisturbed, no
Nice.
fluctuations in temperature. So as soon as I ran it through the trim bin, it was just a terpy explosion of
Wow.
all 4 of the varieties that I had, trimmed into that particular bag. And it's just been great. And the great thing about the spent flour is that it's because there's nothing to vaporize off the flour. It's just like a bed of wood chips for the keef to sit
Oh,
on in the
yeah.
volcano.
That's true.
So,
I totally did. Yeah, I
It
mean, if
works.
it works, it's good enough for me.
yeah, it gets me stoned. It's a terpy experience. So, I like both of those things.
That's
No
amazing.
doubt.
What about you, Johnny? I know you said nothing, but you got to have something planned for Halloween.
Yeah, I'll probably sit around the house and absolutely do nothing. We'll turn the lights off so the fucking kids don't bother me in the neighborhood. And
So you're just
That's
an
it.
asshole.
Yeah, he's that guy.
I fucking hated you, dude.
I thought that was pretty fucking clear.
You can't go buy, at least buy shit candy, dude. Whatever happens to your house is your fault now.
Dude, there's like 2 kids. It's like, what do we even bother? Like, go
That's
to
true.
the
Fair
fucking
enough.
town. I live in a hamlet. There's like 2 kids in the whole fucking neighborhood. Like, why are you knocking? Go away.
Okay, that makes sense.
Just put a bowl of dum-dums on the porch.
There you go. At least then you can be
I
like, hey man,
can't
I
sit
tried.
on the porch all night long.
You don't have to.
Why
be
would I
there.
do it in a bowl? I smoke joints.
Oh, dude, that went right over my stoned head. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about being there, dumbass? It was I, dude,
Jesus.
that was the idiot. Well, does anyone have any exciting news of anything coming up?
No.
Nah.
I
Don't all
can't think of anything.
Shit.
I don't have any
Don't all
jump
harvest or
at
anything
once.
coming up.
I did soak the seeds for the skunk ones, and they are in cocoa.
Oh, that's
inside
right.
of their
Oh,
solo
that's
cups now.
exciting, dude.
See? And Cots,
That's
you had the
exciting.
exact thing, too.
You know what?
So you
I
lied to me.
Yeah,
You
I
did
think-
have something.
I think
Motherfucker.
that we're being dishonest. Johnny and I have a little secret project that's happening
Yeah.
with some Ag Seedco beans being germinated. Yeah, 2 epic varieties from the same company. So we'll circle back real quick. Actually, funny thing is, Ag Seedco is run by Todd McCormick, who edited The Emperor Wears No Clothes.
Oh, shit, that's
So,
awesome.
Yeah, that's his company, and he has gone through great lengths to acquire these seeds with what I would consider to be near 100% provenance, meaning that we can trace where these seeds came from back decades. It's for both the skunk and I'm growing the purest indica, which is the backbone to the Northern Lights line, the entire Northern Lights line.
Wow.
But yeah, both came from Ag Seedco. Both have great provenance. Both should, give some winners. I'm excited, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
I-
Skunk hunt.
I am so nervous. Seeds, number one, these are my dad's seeds. We're growing them at his house. He bought the seeds. This is his run, and I manage his grow with a lot of responsibility. Like, his responsibility pretty much relies on try and maintain your environment as best you can and water the plants. Like, I come over, I do the defoliating, any training we're doing, any top dressings. I maintain the soil, everything for him. He just maintains the water level and the environment. So, like, I got to be really on point with him on this one, like getting over there as often as I can, making sure everything's dialed in, because he's so excited about these fucking things, man. These skunk number ones, like, when I told him, like, I had a legit trace on some good quality true skunk, he was like, nah. He's like, skunk's been gone for a long time. And I was like, nah, man, you don't understand. And then we pulled up the webpage, the AGC webpage, and he was like, yeah, we're doing it. So this is my first regs run. I have regs in my seeds, but they were my buddy's seeds, and he sent them out for DNA. So by the time I got them, I already knew they were female. So this is my first time actually running a sexing on seeds. So we're starting them in cocoa, and then we're going to the 1 gallons and hopefully going from there. But I'm so nervous with this one, man, being what they are.
Now, did you pop the whole pack, or did you guys split the pack up? Okay, so you're
Nope,
doing all 10 beans, huh? Oh
Yep.
my goodness, that's fantastic. Are you guys?
I saw how many you packed. It
thinking-
was 7.
I only planted 3, and my philosophy was that with the Purest Indica release, Todd actually was very generous and gave 3 extra seeds in that pack. So I got a 13 pack.
Right on.
And I was going to save the pack and really do it justice by doing a full seed preservation on it. But because there's 3 extra seeds in the pack, I'm going to just pop those, see what I get, and play around with that. Because when it comes to, planting seeds and, the time in which you can store seeds, those seeds were a fresh run. So they'll be good in my freezer for 20 years. I don't have to dive into that project too soon. But for the Purest Indica, particularly for me, I need to have it because I'll not be able to find anything from any seed company that's going to have a more sedative effect than the Purest Indica.
Oh man, that's insane.
It's a Mazari Sharif straight from Afghanistan that has been untouched for like 50 years. That's insane.
So incredible.
And the skunk is like, it's the same story because it had been the skunk that Todd released that he F2'd had been sitting in a freezer for like 20 years untouched. So that included all of the time that the skunk line went to Amsterdam and was messed around with in Holland for decades and released by all these seed banks, and they crossed it with all their males and they dirtied up the line. Your skunk, the skunk that you have, missed all of that because it was sitting in a freezer for 20 years, and then somebody took it out, and that somebody was Mel Frank, and he did a seed preservation on it, and then that's how we got the seeds that we're gonna enjoy today from Ag Seed Co. So I'm stoked.
Holy
Oh
shit,
man,
guys.
we could be more stoked.
Don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Try to
Johnny
save
in
a
this
male,
shit. That's
dude.
why I'm so nervous because we're starting them in the cocoa, and then I lighten the build the soil light up with some cocoa to give them some root movement based on that cocoa versus soil run I had done earlier. I'm hoping the cocoa kind of softens up that build the soil a little bit.
Are
But
you gonna save a male?
they haven't even popped yet. I'm really toying with that idea, but with her wanting to run an autoflower, if I got to save a male, I got to buy a whole other setup. So
That's the
I'm not
truth,
sure.
yeah. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. The good thing about skunk number 1 is that because the line was so stabilized before it went into these preservations, that you're essentially going to get close to the same plant no matter what, according to Todd and Skunkman Sam's accounts of the skunk, is that it's very stable. Everything's going to look, smell, feel close to the same.
That's fucking incredible. Man, when the skunk was
so
out, I
cool.
was nothing. Like, I wasn't even born, I don't think.
You were a twinkle in your dad's eyes, boy.
Or a wiping
Same.
on his sock.
Yeah.
Well,
Same.
you
That's
know
a
how
70s strain.
yeah, you know how that works, Johnny, right? If it was on a socket, you wouldn't be you.
Right.
Yeah.
What was it?
Oh Jesus.
That's a good way to end it, guys. I'm kind of feeling like I was wiped on a sock right now by
Dude.
Padre.
Nothing but love for everybody here. I want to say that I want to thank both Cots and Mack. They're going to be regulars on this circle, and also anytime they want to do solo projects, they're more than welcome. Everybody, I'm sure, loves you guys much more than us, so feel free.
Oh,
But
I
also,
got that.
Oh, they better. Also, Cots, thanks for sharing that. That kind of content right there is why you listen to the circle, dude.
I appreciate it. Just trying to spread love on the plant, you know? That's what it's all
Absolutely. Well, Mac, why don't you take us out?
Oh, you putting me on the spot?
Hell yeah. I haven't
Well,
heard
what's
your
it gonna be?
voice in a while.
Johnny on the spot? We're gonna make Mackie on the spot.
Mackie on the
This
spot.
ain't my show. Well,
It is. Yeah, it
This is your
motherfucker.
show.
All right, we'll send it to Johnny. We'll let Johnny end our weekends.
yeah, give me an example, and I'll do it next time.
There we go. Let's go,
I
Johnny.
just want to thank so many people for listening. If you've listened all the way to the end here, I cannot be more thankful because we're just a bunch of fucking clowns being inspired by Mac and Cots. So I just thanks everybody for listening all the way in, and check everybody out later.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.
Peace.
Thanks, guys. Peace.